Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Canyon. Welcome back to another installment of Wheelin' Wednesday. Again, dominated by Crawlympics. We're still over at deadline. We're not halfway through deadline. I think next week is halfway because this week we would ordinarily be running what we would call Group 5? Oh, yes, 5. Has to be Group 5. But this isn't technically Group 5. This is the group that, this is the this is the oopsie group. The guy on your far right was supposed to be run last week, but we ran Lolo twice instead. The guy on your far left got completely forgotten during stage 1 at Mavericks and never ran. So the two gentlemen sandwiched in the middle didn't really exist in Canyon format all the way up until, well, a couple weeks ago. Gary Meusy there, he's basically a Mias. I don't know if Mias knows it or not, but Mias has a rig. The only thing it has in there that isn't Mias are the shocks. But they are Mias axles, Mias links, Mias chassis. It's a Mias. So we have a group here that shares nothing in common at all. I was going to say, other than the fact that we have two Duratrax fitted tires, but we technically do, but we don't. No, we really don't. Okay, let me rewind. So Gary Meusy is fitted with Louise Champs. Louise, for years and years, was the OE supplier for Duratrax. Toothless, again, out there on the right, is fitted with Duratrax fossils. But this was after the contract had been, I don't know, allowed to expire or canceled or whatever. And we do believe that Proline is now the OE manufacturer for the Duratrax fossil. Duratrax as a brand is effectively dead. Anything you're buying is new old stock. So Louise Champs are Duratrax Deepwoods, or are they? Duratrax Deepwoods are Louise Champs, or are they? But the fossils are definitely different. The compound feels different. The performance feels different. Everything. So maybe the two most similar tires are the Proline Baja Bro X fitted to Blue Sky High and the fossils fitted to Toothless. But beyond that, we have a group of 4 that I don't know if we have achieved this level of dissimilarity. Starting from left to right, Blue Sky High is an MST CFXW, but he's really not anymore. He still has MST CFXW axles. He has 4-wheel steer, but he is fitted with an Element Stealth XF gearbox in the middle. And because he was one of the very first participants, it came from the Workbench series, Blue Sky High is on like his 8th or 9th chassis iteration, and I'm not kidding. Just all still to fit that JP1 body. He bears some resemblance to what he began as, but not a lot. As was mentioned, Gary Meusy is pretty much full Mias with a J Concepts 1989 tucked cab. He's a goer. He's a goer. So we go portal, straight axle. Tanque is a brazen scale all-time low, a chassis fitted to just TRX4 in the middle. TRX4 axles, TRX4 gearbox, all the TRX4 stuff. It has the length, geometry, and wheelbase of a TRX4. It is fitted with a Red Cat Kaiju body. It is fitted with Duratrax. It is fitted with J Concepts Scorpios on Canyon Customs inserts. There are 3D printed inserts inside the Louise, and I believe there are just foams inside the Baja Pro X. I don't know how Blue Sky High ended up a middle child and ended up being forgotten for this long, but somehow he did. Toothless began life as a anti-ascent. He was built from when the Axial / Horizon was doing blowout clearance on the 10-2 Builders kit, and he came out of that and then eventually got SSD Diamond Pro axles for him, just because, you know, everybody deserves a treat. But his geometry, link length, wheelbase, everything, he's a 10-2. He's a 10-2. His stock obsidian plastic gearbox was replaced, of course, with a hodgepodge of Amazon bits. And then that was mated to a genuine, real deal Vanquish Hertz dig unit in the back. His gearbox is like 5 colors. But none of these guys are overwhelmingly complex. The only one that needs more than 2 channels is Blue Sky High because he's 4-wheel steer, and he really was the entry into fooling around with 4-wheel steer. So we hope that we learn from him. I have no idea how any of these guys are going to perform overall. They could all full pull, they could all fall off. The 4-wheel steer is probably going to get me in trouble. We've got 2 cabs, 2 full lengths. We've got everybody's on different axles. Everybody's on different gearboxes. What do we share in common in motors? We've got an Outrunner. We've got a 1400 Outrunner in Blue Sky High. We've got a Fusion SE, basically. I want to say it's a Legacy, but we'll just call it an SE, in Gary Meusy. We've got a Legacy in Tanque. And we've got a 1080 G2 compared to the rare and elusive black chrome, big block, 4-pole, 5-slot from Surpass, the one that is now discontinued. It's the best brushed combo in the world. And we're going to run them in just that order because it goes B, G, T, A, T, O, Tato, Bajatato. So we're going to run Blue Sky High, we're going to run Gary Meusy, we're going to run Tanque, we're going to run Toothless. We're going to just hope that nobody breaks. We're going to hope everybody does their very best. And then we're going to go and sit down and probably eat a snack. So join me first. You can have your snack now. We have other stuff to do in the midst. And I will see you again, as per usual. I want to say we're at about the 14, 13, 12, 11. We're between the 10 and 11 meter mark, so I will see you about 10 meters to my left. All right. Our 4-wheel steer boy, who is portaled, so he has the clearances more like a portal as we get stuck on entry, but he doesn't have the other stuff of a portal because, for whatever reason, MST saw in their infinite wisdom to use what are called planetary portals, meaning there are 4 gears in each portal box. So the portal doesn't have the gear reduction that you would ordinarily associate with a portal. So he has basically the gear reduction of a straight axle. He also has Daphne's original Outrunner, which is a drone Outrunner, a proper drone Outrunner, which when purchased, was purchased not paying close enough attention. So the wires actually exited the wrong side of the motor. So we took the motor apart, flipped the, you can use reverse. You can use reverse. There's no rules against reverse on Deadline. Okay, let me tell you what's happening. What's happening here is I cannot get accustomed to his throttle response because, as I said, he doesn't behave like he has portals. He's got some of the ground clearance, but he doesn't have the reduction. So he's a little more brisk in his actions than others. We are definitely going to try this inside here. He is on D's bands all the way around to basically negative springs, bro, to control his shocks, because when I mentioned Blue Sky High was like a learning platform for our forays into 4-wheel steer, I absolutely meant that because we still don't know how to make 4-wheel steer work good. We learned that setting up suspension and setting up pinion angle for 4-wheel steer is very different than setting it up for some other rig. Now, that might sound obvious from the outset, but like caster changes in the rear are extremely impactful in 4-wheel steer. Now, I don't know if it's in all 4-wheel steer or just the configuration that this guy ended up in, but those caster changes, like trying to minimize pinion angle change, is absolutely critical when it comes to him. And I always forget that we are four-wheel steer. While talking about four-wheel steer, I forget that I'm four-wheel steer. Four-wheel steer is an advantage in every instance except that in which it isn't, which is basically you want four-wheel steer to be two things at once. You want it simultaneously to be only user controlled. Like I can put the wheels at this angle and stay there. But you also want it to be self-centering. Like it almost, you need to turn this into a DualShock controller on a PlayStation where you're trying to play Grand Theft Auto, where there are so many necessary controls that everything is mapped to multiple buttons. You need that because you want full control over four-wheel steer, but you also want the ability to have it just self-center as soon as you let go of the wheel. Because in those instances where you leave the wheel off more than about 10 points of control to one side or the other, it's going to end badly. Something is going to happen. The bands, also, we've talked about any sort of, we love that term. We love the negative spring notion. In most instances, I don't think that they are explicitly helpful. I think that they are a Band-Aid on an amputation. But then there are instances like this, where we have four-wheel steer. We have a rig that has its own set of unique issues. And in some instances, the application of those bands can be very helpful. We have them on Blue Sky High. We have them on Misdirection. And they are very helpful in those applications. I can't quite... Also, very important to note, because of the weirdity, which is one step above an oddity, because of the weirdity of the MST portal, we can't add front weight to this guy other than in brass rings. Nobody ever made brass for these axles. Okay, we're trying to hug that tree as close as we can, and I don't think we're going to be able to do it. So we're going to have to try to hook top tire. This is not great for him. Four-wheel steer is how you get yourself in trouble. That there's no way he holds this. Okay, get as slow as you can. As slow as you can. Pull it over. Pull, 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 pull. Pull, 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 pull. All right. So he made it to that meter mark. Okay, you're gonna have to go back one. If a guy's got four-wheel steer, we're considering this an outright advantage. You got to get back on yourself, dude. I mean, we'll resort to the hand if need be. There we are. Okay. He's got the one fall. When thinking about scoring initially, we definitely took into consideration, does a fall and a touch count as the same thing? And there was some internal debate about that, and we arrived at the decision that yes, indeed it does. Okay, he is going to try to wedge himself between the net and the tree because he cannot get over. And he has four-wheel steer, so I think he is going to... Oh, no, 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 no. That's that. That is definitely something inside the gearbox. We either broke a pin, we snapped something between the pinion and the intermediate gear. Something inside broke. And his only real chance to make it was to go fence side. And I hope that if nothing else, that illuminates why rigs don't go fence side. All right, so we hope for better things. Let's Let's hope not to set some sort of precedent where everybody breaks. This already, we definitely, we at least feel like, oh God. I was going to say we felt like we were coming in easier. That just pirouetted out, and I had absolutely no chance to catch him. Oh, his rear end is feeling really, really light in here. Just keep swinging it up. Okay. Get bound up. Get through it. There we go. Don't quite have the... Yeah, it's pushing. He's pushing. He's pushing a little bit. Okay. Let's see. Nope. Get over, get over, get over, get over. Okay. I might have been a little spicy before. Kind of calm that spice down. Go for the same shot. This is a weight transfer one, and with his rear being a little fidgety. No, we're good. We're good. Good, right through there. Oh, very good. Very good. All right. All right, Gary, you got to go low side here. I see your line. I see the line I want you on. Okay, champs through there like champs. Coming up. All right, over the top. Whew. It's those moments where the skid binds up and then pops loose. The crags here are particularly sticky. Let's hope we don't have to go fence side. That is, I think, right at halfway is where Blue Sky High broke. It also turned out in analysis there was a chunk of chain link fence, like a hoop of chain link fence sticking out, and his rear tire got inside that hoop of chain link fence, and that is what brought him down. I thought that it was the front tires bound up in the net, but no. There was actually a piece of wire, like obscured under the net. So no wire there, he makes it through no problem. Let's get the skid caught here. No. Breakover is a bit better. Little Gary here, he's going to try coming across the top here. Yeah, Gary. So this is the spot. This is the spot, the halfway mark. Much easier back on. When you take Blue Sky High and flip them upside down, the motor spins and the drive shafts just sit in one place. So I'm figuring it's up in the pinion spur area. Yeah, easily. Okay. There's kind of a freebie distance here once you get past midway point because nothing is really challenging for about a 5-6 meter area. It's a little craggy. Let's go. Net is hanging pretty low today, and the net is grippy, so you can get bound up in the net. I see the birds have been perching and pooping. Yeah, Gary's front feels like it's riding a little low because we're kind of hanging up. All right, good. All right. Now, I can't remember. Was it across this top? I'm trying to remember who was the truggy base that got hung up and failed. Oh, that is... Gary, you are coming out... I just saw the sun glinting off of it. You are coming out of here webby, good sir. If you are the first one to make it to this point, hey, maybe those spider webs add grip. We're going to go for that straight pull over here. Not a problem at all. Good approach, good departure. Coming through. There's two more sticky moments here. Little application there. Through here. And Gary Meusy with the single fall. Two falls. He fell twice. I almost forgot about the fall right at the beginning.
So he is only the second rig to fall twice, and it was because 100% driver error. His behavior, the way his front and rear axles work, was so radically different from Blue Sky High, I got to the first crest and lost him. All right. See how Tanque does at this. Tanque is, in my estimation, properly LCG because the chassis is full LCG. We also have the additional ground clearance afforded by TRX4 axles. We have what we think to be reasonably optimized tire end insert because we went through a whole tire testival for him. And the Scorpios are just murdering. Oh, Tanque is looking real good. So far, we'll see. There's been that stumbling point. GRC, G2 axles in the front for better clearance. Yeah, you should be able to just right over this. Oh, it's a little long in the belly. 100mm shocks, which in his initial, proper first drive, I was like, I don't know how I feel about hundreds on here. And then midway through that test, I was like, I know how I feel about hundreds now. Pushing the front end a bit. Those going to grab? Ooh, that's getting real light. It's that stand of full lock. Okay, come across real high. Drop down here. Little reverse. We're allowed to use reverse. Don't forget. There we go. Go wide out here. You will notice if you sat down and stopwatched this, and I don't know why you would, but if you were to, you would be like, how come the runs get faster? Well, we're warming up. The guy that goes first, sometimes the alphabet is your friend, sometimes the alphabet is not your friend. The guy who goes first is preparing everyone else. Oh, just hugged it. The best through there by a margin. There's this feeling of additional clearance that, we're all class 2s today. It's pretty much all 475s. Oh, the Scorpios are looking the absolute jam. Tanque is walking this. Tanque is feeling like this is an Argenum run. Straight over, how's that? Oh, easy. Easy. Tanque shooting right. Don't wait. Don't say it. Do not speak the cursed words. Genuinely. Tanque up there with the elites in. That felt like we weren't doing nothing. We started over there. 29 meters later, I don't feel like we did anything. We just drove over here. There was no point. Maybe at the trio, for a second, I felt the front end start to lift. And then we just finished the course. Proper good. All right. Our only non-portal on the day, our quiet boy. He's so quiet. There's this power delivery that, it's not, you can tell right away, it's not a fusion, right? We're not getting that constant FOC delivery. What he does feel, this is the guy that when people say they don't like fusions or they don't like outrunners and they appreciate brushed, this is that guy. You know what this guy also needs? I'm looking at the amount of chassis that is hanging out in front. I want to cut his rails. I want to cut his rails, trim up his body a little, and run that bumper further back. Because that hang was, all right, here's the deal. Toothless is the guy that could absolutely get me in trouble. because he feels so confident and so smooth. Tanque just felt absolutely masterful through this. Toothless is the driver's rig, man. Oh, man. Definitely after going Outrunner and then back-to-back fusions, this guy feels way down on power compared to the others. But he feels almost effortless. Like, this is the... I will always remember back to one of the... When Formula Drift was starting to be a thing, I remember seeing a video where the dude was driving the Falcon Mustang at the time, and they went to one of the race courses, and an elderly Japanese man was there with a Miata, and they literally took a bone stock Miata, and he drifted the... pardonnez-moi français, he drifted the hell out of that car by disconnecting one of the sway bars, and that was it. Stock, like 100 and some odd horsepower, 120 horsepower, and just drifted it like he was never not sideways. Toothless is the rock crawler version of that Miata with its sway bar disconnected. He doesn't fit, and this is, like I said, basically 10-2. He has dig. He's got dig. I have never felt for even a second that I needed to touch it. Because he doesn't need it. He is straight axles, and he is doing a portal's job. There are these little bind-ups. When he gets that bind-up, you can save it. You can stop it better than you can stop it with anybody else because he doesn't have the power. It won't try to just pull you through. Remember I said the crags will grab you and then it feels like you're popping loose? Never happens here. He absolutely glided through there. I thought Tanque felt like he did it easily. Toothless might as well have been driving on a sidewalk.
So we kind of a little bit ran the gamut. The only thing that would have broken it up is we needed somebody to not make it but fail due to falls and not mechanicals. Blue Sky High made it halfway. Something inside that gearbox went. And I have no idea what. The motor still spins. Now, we turned the top shaft down on a lathe to fit a 3mm pinion because 5mm bore 48 pitch pinions are not super common. We may have snapped the output shaft on that motor. And honestly, that would kind of be the best case scenario because I can replace that. I have motors in the case right now. He would be fixed in 5 minutes if it's that. I get this feeling it's something deeper inside the gearbox though. I think the motor is fine. So the top shaft is one piece. There are a couple pins in there that could snap. I don't know what snapped, but something snapped. So you can't move him. The motor will spin, but the gearbox is effectively locked up. So he made it halfway. He fell off literally right at the triple hash marks. So he did the 14 and a half, 15. He's at the halfway point, which would be the 15-meter mark. 14 meters on either side of that. He made it halfway and he fell. Gary Meusy joining Rare Company, which is a full pull with 2 falls. I think we've only seen full pull with 2 falls once before. Did Blue Sky High have a fall before he broke? Yes. He had 1 fall and then broke. So he'll get a couple bonus points. We'll see if that helps him. We may end up indeed having to add yet another bonus week, which is if you broke, we'll give you another try because it is a shame to watch people break. But if you break on race day, you broke on race day. I wouldn't mind. I would not be opposed to giving, and we're definitely gonna get to a point where we've broken enough to fill a day with the brakes. Tanque absolutely walked it, and I thought I had not felt anything as effortless walk across it, except maybe Argenum. Argenum felt even just that little bit smoother. Toothless though, our good buddy over there, absolutely walked / dominated Deadline. He went through that so easily. I felt like I was just doing little minor steering inputs, and he just, what is this the power of the SSD Diamond Pro? Is this the power of the big, I can't tell from this distance if they're the big, no, they are the big deluxe weights. I was like, are they the big KYX or are they the big deluxe? I'm pretty sure they're the big deluxe weights. So that's the extent of it. SSD Diamond Pros and those giant weights on them. He doesn't have anything else fancy. Like, it's Canyon Customs inside fossils. And the fossil has kind of shown itself over time to be we'll still call it Duratrax, even though we're pretty sure that's not the OE. It's been the Duratrax, well, let's call it the landmine. Because, like, the landmine works if you can find the rig that it works on. We're running 2 sets of fossils in the fleet, and they really bounced around from rig to rig before we found some place that they would kind of sing. And you know, of this group, that there is the common thread that ties them all together. All of those tires represented across the group, we never really found forever homes for them until these guys. So these guys have optimization through accuracy by volume, where we just kept trying tires on different rigs until we found tires that worked. And particularly in the case of the Scorpios and the fossils here, so certain, particularly passing through the trio, the Tree Amigos, you could see the Scorpios and the fossils just pull those front ends through. And Gary could potentially have done, if you would scramble them, if you had mixed up the order and Gary Meusy ran last, honestly, I don't know it would have helped, because he felt the most like twitchy in the rear end. Like the rear end wanted to cut loose on you. And I don't explicitly know what factors were collaborating to net that. Tanque was easy. Toothless was in not trying mode. We had one breakage. I will sort that out. What we do is we take them in and we film the turntable sequence that has probably aired already. It's probably shown at some point. We do the turntable part. And during that turntable part, I'm cleaning up the rigs, making sure all the batteries are disconnected, and we will also figure out what happened to Blue Sky High. We'll get into the forensics of that, because I don't like to put them up on the shelf broken. Blue Sky High has been mistreated enough. Completely forgotten in round 1, broken in round 2. He's having a rough time. So there you have it. A breakage at half. Full pull with 2 falls and 2 full pulls with no falls, and they both are up there at these guys are guys to watch when we get into the proper into the gated stuff. Those guys are going to make it. If you do a full pull, even if we went past the number, which we can't, we've already had enough fall into the number. We're only dropping the bottom. I want to say it's the bottom 12 get dropped and don't make it to the next round. If you go full pull with no falls, you make it. If we had 30 guys that made full pulls and no falls, all 30 guys would make it to the next one. But we've already gotten to the point where that's not going to happen, because I think we have 20 more rigs, so we should just be past the halfway point. We might be at 24 rigs to go, which means we would be at the halfway point, and we've already had a number of falls. No, we could technically. No, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. There's a week that's going to come up that's going to have. There's still other Class 1 rigs. There's still rigs with big bodies. Deadline is not suited to guys like Jolly Green at all. I don't know. We'll find out how those go. We did all right in this one. Next week should be a banger based on the quartet that are competing in that week. We will clean these up. We will sort this out. I will see you next week. I will thank you for tuning in for this one. You, loyal few, the Canyonites, the true devotees, the watchers of Wheelin' Wednesday and the Crawlympics. Thank you so very much. Tune in for whatever comes next, including next week's One of This. I invite you, one and all, in between now and when we meet again, to do your very best to have a good run, everybody. We will see you next time here from the Canyon. Bye, everybody.